Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and it's time for the Creative Memories July virtual crop. You all voted on my community tab of my channel, and here are the sketches with the collections that you all want to see used. Of course, I used a little creative license on the first sketch. I couldn't help myself. So you'll just have to check it out and let me know what you all think and which one is your favorite. Sketch number 1 was the one with all the circles. And of course, I saw circles and thought of squares. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different on this one. And this is the one where I brought in the Poolside Paradise collection as well. You can see my mats here, how many squares I am using, and we are going to get this sketch put together. Now, two things that I did do. I used our Wave Crest Chain Border Maker cartridge with our blue cardstock to punch 2 borders. I also used our square punch because this is an 1 3/4 inch square. And it just makes life so much easier. I'm going to show you a scrap I have in just a moment. But first things first, let me show you the paper we are going to use as our base page for both sides. Is this one that has all the words on the back. I guess it would help if I showed it to you the way it maybe would have been on a page if you used the words. But we are going to match both sides of the page with the same base. And that is actually the first thing that is going to go on to our left side of the page is our Wave Crest Chain border that I punched with our border maker. If you don't have the border maker system, you're not going to be able to use this punch, because that is what you need for our border maker cartridges. They fit in the border maker holder. There we go. So this one is running all the way down the right side of our page. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab out, I have 4 of our 1 3/4 inch squares for the left side of our page. I'm going to grab my 0 centering ruler here. Let me put some tape on these. Now I do want my waves on my paper to be running vertically. This is the one that has the pool water look on the back side of it. And then we're also going to be using the bubble paper that has the tropical punch on the back as well. So those are our 2 main pages that I used for our squares. And our mat is a little bit of a different sheet. Actually, it's the one that complements the wave. This one. So we have the one with the waves running through. This is where I used essentially 1 sheet of this designer paper. I cut the mats out and I fussy cut our mats this time. So kind of stick with me, watch along, and I'll show you. I used 1 sheet of this paper completely, and then I used the 2 designer sheets for the base and added a little bit of cardstock, and that was it. I'll show you what I have left from the sheet I took the mats from. But I'm going to bring in my 0 centering ruler first, and we are going to, whoops, get this one at the top of our page here. And I just want to make sure I get this lined up nicely as well. And relatively even against the edge of the paper. And then I want my spacing to be in between with our other 2 squares. So let me get my ruler lined up again. So here is our 0 in the center. It's a little bit harder to see on this table, but you know what? When Catherine's living in an Airbnb, we make do with what we have. I missed my setup so much. Can't even tell y'all how happy I'm gonna be. You're probably gonna be tired of hearing about it. Let's see, that looks pretty even. Let's hope that's right. 1 2 3 4 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 1.25 inches from each mark there, from the center. So here's 1.25 inches and an inch. Here's the quarter, there's the 3, yep. So it's a little bit off center. Actually, that doesn't quite, is that right? Yep, 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches. At the end, we have another 1.25 inches, and we'll have some space. Actually, we're gonna have 2.5. I need to bring it down just one more. So I'm gonna bring it down to 2 inches. Okay. I'm gonna lift up my pieces I just put down because I wanna bring it down another 1/4 inch. I wanna bring it down to 1 inch. So that way when I have my piece on the other side, it's essentially gonna get framed in between these two. Trying to think of both sides of the paper at once is not my strong suit, I guess. So I have my center here, and then it's 1 inch from each part of the center. So there's 2.5 inches between these two squares, but 2 inches here. I hope that makes sense. Took me a little bit to figure it out, but it's done now. Now let's pull in our mats, and I have 3 mats for each side of the page, and this is what I had left. This is essentially what I cut these. Uh-oh, I turned that one the wrong direction, didn't I? It's a good thing I noticed that. Okay, let's fix that. While I'm fixing things here. Goodness gracious, after I made a point to say that I was going to be good and put it vertically, I put it horizontal, didn't I? It's a good thing I have my multi-purpose tool. So that's straight now. Sorry about that. I had to turn that one real quick. I had it facing the wrong way because I want all of our water look to be going up. This is essentially, I pulled 4 squares out of this last 4-inch piece from this sheet that I took the mats out of. I did 4x6 mats and 4x4 mats. So I have 4x6 mats. So it was essentially the 2 ends of the paper, and then 2 4x4 mats, which was the top and bottom squares from the middle. And then I had one left in the middle, and that was this one. And I was like, you know, maybe I can use that for some other squares. And it adds a really nice extra blue touch to our page, a contrasting color as well. And this is going to frame out part of our page. I know we're covering up some of the stuff, it's okay, but I'm also going a little bit asymmetrical on both of my pages this time, which is a little bit more unusual for me too. So we are going to cover up part of this frame. We're not going to have these sight lined exactly right. So, all right, I shouldn't say, yeah, it's just going to be a little bit different from what I normally do. And then I also had punched some more of the squares from the bubble paper, and I cut them in half so that way we can have them running through the opposite end of our paper here, because on this you can see where they had half circles and full circles, and we're just using squares, but we're not doing them quite so tight as what the sketch directs for the circles. And I just kind of liked it a little bit less busy. And of course you can do what you would like, but you know, I hope I'm giving you another idea, another interpretation for this sketch. Maybe planting an idea of some pool pictures for you in your future. Somebody needs to go visit a pool. All right. These are going to run exactly at the edge, and I have my blue wave in the middle, and the other 2 are up and down. So let's go ahead and start with some bubbles at the top and bottom. I will bring back in my 0 centering ruler. And we're going to get this layout put together and embellished a bit. All right, this one's going in the center. So you're going to look for that 7/8 on either side of your 0 here to make sure that gets lined up. And now we've got to figure out where we're going to put this one. All right, close enough. I'm not being exact here just because I'm not super mathy, I guess. So this is 1 5/8 is where I place the top of this other one for my 0. So I'm gonna find 1 5/8 on this side. It is hard to see with this dark table, but there we go. Oops, got my arm stuck in my other mat, you know. And I'm filming on a Monday, I don't know, just saying maybe. Okay, let's get these on. Okay, this is going up a little bit, kind of into here. But I want to lightly put it and then lightly place them because I have some embellishments that I need to fit in. This is going over our 2 squares just a little bit. This white line is kind of cutting through these 2 brown lines that are around our dividing our diagonal lines and our straight lines. And then I'm going to bring in these embellishments before I get my other one because I need to place some things. We have a towel, we have pool vibes with a hat. So the hat's probably going to go down first, and then I may pop up this pool vibes around it, but I like that this is kind of coming in from the edge here. Might even frame it out a little bit. There we go, yep. This is coming in behind here now, making sure that so these outer angles are all the tile look from around the water effect. And I need it to be so where my chair and my umbrella don't interfere too much with my actual photo. There we go. So that's gonna be just inside there. This is down here. And this one is coming in at an angle. And I probably will pop this up too, just because, and that way I can get my photo under it. Let me find my powder. Definitely want to bring in and use my Creative Memories anti-stick powder tool. I'm glad I threw it into my scrapbooking bag at the last minute when I was frantically packing up. And we are going to, this one looks good here. I'm going to go ahead and press down on that one. This one looks a little bit crooked, so I'm going to fix that before I push it down as well. I'm going to give it about 1/8 of an inch separation here. Oops. And then this one is, I don't know if I want to put it up or down. Where did I want this one? In between, above this one. So right around here. So again, like I said, these are a little bit more asymmetrical than how I usually I'm like lining up the sight lines through the photos, but this one is not. You know, it's always fun to test my creativity, I guess. It's always fun to test my creativity and try different things and see how they look and see how they turn out. Sometimes it works better than other times, but most of the time I'm usually pretty happy with it. So let's get this on here, along with a couple of smaller ones and then a really small one for that bottom of our umbrella, and then I'll get the anti-stick tool going. There we go, one more small one for this bottom part here. Close enough. Okay, put it on my silicone mat, and let's just go ahead before I pull the, I'm gonna get some of this powder going on here and down and down. Okay, that way it doesn't get on my photo or interfere a whole lot with that. Okay, take off the backs of the foam squares. And now this is going to come in just from an angle. You want it inside this line at the edge of the paper here, and you can easily, you should be able to just take your multi-purpose tool and lift that up when it's time to tuck your photo in and under. This guy is coming in and sliding in under here, so let me get my repositionable adhesive going. I'm trying to figure out where the better place for y'all to see what I'm doing here. This camera, I'm not used to not used to the camera angle and feel like I'm breathing into the camera, which I apologize if sounds like I'm breathing really heavily. It's just because my head is literally 6 inches from the camera, basically. There we go. All right, so our chair's down, and then we're gonna add this single towel that I also found in our sticker set just down here. Do we want to put it in between the lines? Or do we want, yeah, we're gonna put it in between these lines here. There we go. All right, I think that's it for the left side of our page. No, it's not, because I still have to do this. Okay, Catherine, well, you know, just when you thought it was done. What is it, safe to go back in the water? Is that what I don't even know if I've ever seen Jaws. You know, I know it's a classic. I love movies. I just have never, I think maybe because I always wanted to go back in the water and I felt like that movie would scare me. Maybe now that I'm older, I should watch it. I don't know. Y'all can let me know. Let me know your thoughts on Jaws. How's about that? Okay. That is one of our stickers, so I just pulled the backing off of that. Our Pool Vibes is going up here, framed out a little bit by the outline. I'm going to leave this corner up just a little bit so I can tuck under my hat. Because there we go, one of our foam squares was gonna hit it. Now we're done. How's about that? What do you all think? Here's the left side of our page done already. And now we are gonna get the right side put together as well. All right, same base as the other side, same border as the other side. Let me move my powder tool there so I can get some more repositionable on here. Aren't these silicone mats wonderful? Just for so much. Let me make sure I'm coming down here just a little bit. Make sure I'm on camera for all of you. What's the point of doing all this if you can't see it, right? Okay. And making sure my border is on my page here. There we go. Had to get the line lined up there. Because even though it's a wave, you want to make sure your wave is straight for your page. And we have 3 of our squares for this right side of our page. Our dark one's going to go in the center. And our 2 bubbles are going to go in that in-between space. So let me bring in my left side a little. Look at this lid on that. Move my foam squares. That's the other thing. Sometimes I feel like I don't have much space at home, and boy, I feel like I have the world at home. Okay, so this one is going in the middle, and I want to make sure up and down so I don't have to move it again. So this one's right in between here. Are we lined up now? Yes. Okay, and that you can just eyeball because it looks like it's about 1/8 of an inch from each one of these. So it's just as well we put that 1/8 inch through that other mat space there. And then our bubbles are going to go over here in between the other 2. How's about that? Was that fun or what? And it kind of helps us. It's almost like we took the circles and just kind of stretched them out a little bit, so that way instead of being almost like a stoplight or, you know, macrame beads or something, it's kind of like just bringing it out so it gives just a little more flow to it, right? But adding this extra wave behind it kind of continues some of that movement. I don't know. It's fun. Maybe I have a strange sense of fun, but I love designing this one. I really enjoyed the colors and play with the paper. You know, I've said before, make the paper work for you. And we're gonna have one coming up where I really made the paper work for me. But this one also, because with the square, we're repeating the squares throughout and the frame kind of throughout with this, and both with that tiled pool paper. So we're gonna do the same thing that we did on the other side with this, because it's okay to repeat things a little bit. Okay, let's get the top and the bottom. I guess it really doesn't matter, does it? I just don't know why I put that one down. Here we go. Okay. Let me get my zero centering ruler again. We're gonna have that other one through the middle here with this one. And remember, where's my one? No, it was 7/8. Yes. Okay, there's 7/8. And what did I say on the other one? 1 1/4. In between. Nope, I'm just gonna bring it in. Let's make life easier. Let's see if I can actually squash it in here, because I don't have the space. Okay, here we go. This one's gonna match. So let's just roughly put this one here, because I can't see if I'm actually at the edge or not. And we're gonna put this one here, since I did all the work on the other side. So those are symmetrical. Our mats are not gonna be so symmetrical, because it's not gonna matchy-matchy this time. Sometimes I do 2 pages from one and it's matchy-matchy, and sometimes not so much. Now, what do I have for this side of the page? I wanted to get in a journal box. So I have the other half of our paper. This one is going, all right, this is here, coming in and up, I think. This one's coming up and down, and the third one is going to be here. So that's definitely in, and it's gonna fall in between the 2 lines. This one I think I wound up being a little bit more linear on. So this one is just inside of the frame, I think, because we're gonna add this one. This one is one of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats. I cut it in half. I don't know what was on the other half, but it definitely had that darker blue that matches our blue wave paper, and it had, I guess, white, and then it had the same diagonal that's in the middle of our paper. It said something. I'm sorry I can't tell you what it said, because I don't remember. This is going up a little bit higher because this is coming in here. And we're just going to frame that with just the darker. There we go. Okay. Now, this is coming in also, so let me make sure I've got my Make a Splash is coming out from here. Sometimes it's good to get your placement before you start sticking everything down. This is going down here. So it's okay that this one, where we'll pop this up, it's going to go on top of our journal box just a little bit, but again, with the umbrella on the other side being a little bit over, you know, it is what it is. And you know what, this is going to come in just a hair. We're going to frame this with both of those. See if we can line this up here. Yep. Okay, so this is framing out with the darker craft color. This one is going to have both lines, and then this is going to be on top of this. And that one's going to be inside both of them. Like I said, I'm not exactly matchy-matchy, and this isn't necessarily intentional. It's just where it seems to fit the page. I know sometimes the way my eyes and my brain see things are a little bit different. I own it. It's part of me. And hopefully it helps you all see that sometimes you can look at things a little bit differently. and come up with a beautiful page as well. It doesn't have to be perfect every time, that's for sure. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. It just has to flow and work well for your photos. And somehow I always seem to find photos that work with the pages I put together. Sometimes I sell a few. In fact, I might be selling a few this spring here in San Antonio. You'll have to keep an eye on my website or on my Facebook page. If you have Facebook, this was framed by both of them. And I will post when I'm getting ready to sell some of my extra samples, because I would rather sell them live and in person than have to ship them. I may wind up shipping some of them eventually, but if I don't have to, I don't know if I want to. Sometimes dealing with the post office can be a little bit of a headache. All right, this one is going to touch. I think just because it has that solid blue. And now this one's going up here. And like I said, that line's going to run through the middle. I've got about, what is that, 3/4 of an inch on each side of this mat. In between here and here. Making a splash is going to go up on a foam square. And we are wrapping this page up kind of rapidly after having to do all that measuring and feeling like it took forever. Now it is coming together quickly. Oops. If I don't stick the foam squares to my fingernails, which has been known to happen, since I have the powder tool, I'm going to use it. And now we are making a splash. There's that. Did I say I was going to foam square that one? I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to change my mind and just put this one down on the page. Okay. And now you can see why I brought in that extra striped towel on the other side, because this one has 2 of them and it just looked funny without having that little extra detail on the other side of the page. But guess what? Sketch 1 is done. Let me clean up my table a little bit. I'm hoping I can fit both of these into the camera view for you all. I think I might get it. It's close. It's tight, but it's close. What do y'all think? Not too shabby for sketch number 1. Like I said, we started with circles, and this was, I mean, they do have some 4x6 and 4x4s on theirs. Maybe I kind of followed it. I don't know. Do y'all like when I go in my own direction from these sketches? Am I giving you all some good ideas? I hope so. Single towel hanging out, double towels. There we go. All done. Let's get on to sketch number 2. Sketch number 2 is the sunburst sketch, and these were always a little bit challenging. I have done classes in the past on how to put together the sunburst through the full page, so if any of you would like me to add a virtual class to my calendar, send me an email, drop me a comment, and I would be happy to do that. But we're going to get a small tutorial on doing a half sunburst today. And with this one, I am going to be using the Noteworthy Days collection. And when I looked at our July stickers for Noteworthy Days, guess what? There were a whole bunch of 4th of July stickers, and I thought, you know, this is what I have left. This gives me an opportunity to do another 2-page layout for all of you with Noteworthy Days coming up, because we are going to use all the stickers, and I do still have the June stickers. These I will be filming this week. This one hopefully I'll get to this week as well, but let's do one thing at a time here, I guess. But because there was so much 4th of July, and this was the sunburst, it was a little bit of a challenge. So bear with me. Again, Catherine kind of does her own thing a little bit. My mats are 5.5 by 3.5, so I didn't like the 6" by 3.5. So I did go with a slightly smaller mat. And for my border going across, I pulled out the cityscape because I thought, you know, it's kind of fun to have that sunburst coming up from the city scene, and with the you know, fireworks or whatever the thinking about 4th of July, it just seemed to work for me. So that's what I did. And we are going to use our cranberry cardstock. We're also going to use bright white cardstock. I have cut an 1.5" frame from our cranberry cardstock. I did a short that demonstrates this. So if you want to know how to do this frame, go check my channel and watch the short. Bringing in all my stuff here. I have my 1.5" frame, and then I cut a sheet of our bright white cardstock at 11 inches. And the reason I left our frame a little bit wider is because I wanted to make sure my tape runner would have space to run through without showing. I just, you know, I left maybe a little bit of extra cardstock, but I'm okay with that because I knew I wanted a 1/2 inch showing along the outside of my bright white. And maybe I'm using a little bit more tape runner than I normally would. Oops. But I want to make sure that my frame sticks well. We're going to bring in the 0 centering ruler again because we have a grid line that can help us with that 1/2 inch mark. Our lines run both vertically and horizontally on our 0 centering ruler. Of course, I've got this upside down now because I need to use the lines on this other side here. But each one of these grid marks is 1/4 inch. So here I'm going to mark it at 1/2 because I know that's what I want. So I'm going to go 2 lines in, put down my thing. So follow it down, put your 1/2 inch, and then you can also line it up at 1/2 inch from the top and bottom because you're already on your 0 centering ruler, so you know exactly you're going to have a 1/2 inch frame showing all the way around. Now, the other thing I'm going to do while I have my 0 centering ruler out is I'm going to grab my pencil. So I'm grabbing my pencil and I am marking the 0, the center of my cardstock here, just real quick. So that way I know where I'm going to be starting my sunburst coming up in just a moment and where I want it to end. Now you can take, they said to take your scoring blade and just put a line across your base paper, but you know, this is another technique that you can use. It's up to you to do on your page what works for you. And this works for me. So for my large and small squares, so what you're going to do is you're going to cut a couple of rectangles. And so I cut 2 2.5 by 12 inch and 2 1.5 inch by 6.5 from each color. So I have cranberry, I have navy, and I have our Noteworthy Days polka dot from our Tone on Tone pack. It has the dark green on the back of it. It has a navy polka dot. The other Noteworthy Days paper I brought in was the one I cut the cityscape from. It is the darker navy looking paper, and it has the tan polka dots on the back of it. So just in case you were wondering where the Noteworthy Days came in, it's coming in. but this one is a little bit more cardstock heavy than what I normally do for Noteworthy Days, but the stickers just dictate these layouts to me, and this is the way it seemed to work. When you cut your mats, I did that from the navy cardstock. When you cut your squares, I did 2 from each color, and then you alternate which direction you're going with your diagonal cut. So one's going to cut from the top left to the lower right, and the other's going to cut the opposite way. Honestly, with the cardstock, it doesn't matter. With your designer paper, it does. So I'm going to start with a smaller navy one over here to start it. And you do want to make sure when you start your sunburst that this bottom angle is straight. So I'm going to line these up first, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick them down because it's just too hard to not do it that way. You don't want to completely mess it up either. I need to move everything spaced a little bit closer. I do create this pattern, and I want it to be a little bit more to the left side of my page here, because we have an embellishment also from Noteworthy Days. You can see our stickers over here on the side. So this one actually had blue stripes, but I didn't want to do the blue stripes. We're doing just the back side of the embellishment. And you know what? In scrapbooking, there's no rules, so I can do that. You can too. You don't have to always do it just a certain way. You saw somebody else do it. You can always go off on your own way. And here we go. There's my mark here. I'm going to cover that up with this little dot one just a little bit. I want to pull these out just a hair, but I want my left side of the page to kind of have that eye line a little bit more here. So I do need to angle this just a little bit more. And this is coming down. Actually, I probably need to flip some of these. Maybe I'm okay. There we go. I actually do need to put this red one here and the smaller red one here. So then that way we have this one coming in. So that way, again, it's my sight line I want over here. So you want it to be a little bit bigger bursty from the right going towards the left. There we go. Okay. So I think I have a nice pattern here. I am going to start sticking things down. On our other side of the page, we're going to angle it a little bit more to the right, because in that way, again, left side, right side. I mean, if you want to do this just as a title page, it's your prerogative, it's your page. You can do that also. Let me bring in my silicone mat here real quick, and we are going to go with repositionable because it's a sunburst. We're going to make a mistake at some point here. And in fact, I think I already have this one. Yeah, no, that's okay. I guess it's, I thought maybe I would, that's why, because I don't have the flat side down on this one. But I don't have it on that one either, so it's okay. We're just gonna start rolling with it, and I just put the tape runner on the wrong side. Usually I don't flip cardstock because it's cardstock, and it doesn't matter. You don't always have to flip your cardstock. I think a lot of times we do automatically because of the designer paper, but you know what? That's the beauty of using the repositionable tape. I can just pick it up and move it, rub it off, not even worried about it. Okay, I guess I am gonna have to flip everything this time. Let's get our 2 bottom points down. And then the rest of our layout should come in nicely from here. And yeah, you can go a little bit. You can see this, I do have this angle just a little bit offset again, but that's all right. We'll get it done. I don't know, maybe this is the month for the offset layout. And you do want to be careful, especially with your larger pieces. Don't put tape runner all the way out here like I just did. You want to keep it inside the frame of your page. Let's, you know, everything costs money now. Everything's a little bit more expensive, and I tend to be frugal. I don't know, I haven't said that in a while. I know I've mentioned how color funny I am most of the time, but I am also frugal. So let's watch your pennies, watch your tape runner, and you don't have to run it all the way out. This one I could have, but these I'm not going to, because you can see they all go off the page. And then we're going to be flipping and cutting. Sometimes it feels like this is a little bit long. I think that's why when I've taught the other full page, I can see where we need these 12-inch strips, but on this partial page, I don't know. But for once I was following the sketch, and that's okay. I just don't like having quite so many scraps. And when I taught the class, I did give a couple of ideas of pages you could make with the scraps as well. Because let's face it, what else are you going to do with this stuff? You don't necessarily want to recycle this much cardstock or paper. Last two wedges going into our starburst. There we go. All right. Now what we need is our focal point coming in, but we also need to get our extra pieces cut off of here. Back to my layout sticking to the table. I do need to get my mats onto here as well. So let's go ahead and do our mats first. They're sticking on the table, which is okay, I guess. These I don't need to flip. These I need regular tape runner for. Let's go ahead and get our 3.5 by 5.5 mats. Going on to our page here, and we do want these spaced nicely as well. So let's go ahead and grab the zero centering ruler again. Let me move this up a little. Let's see if I can get it unstuck from the table here. Lined up nicely. Let's go ahead and get our mats down. We do want them 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and place my ruler with 1/4 of an inch on that grid line. So I am straight there. I can see my 0 is in the center here. And what do I have? 3 and a half. So I need 1 3/4 on each side. Yes, 1 3/4. There we go for that. And I need 1/4 inch in between. So let's see if we can do that. Nope, we're gonna be a little bit tight here. So we're gonna have about 1/8 of an inch in between the mats and between the edge frame here. So these do come in a little bit tight. Look at that. There we go. All right. And maybe I should have run it, instead of running it through the middle of this, maybe we should have run it a little bit higher, but that's okay. I've already got everything placed. I am just going to go with it. We're gonna move this up and over a little bit here. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this on foam squares, if I can find them. Feels weird to put it on the side with the design on it. I can tell you that much. I'm gonna save 2 of my other big foam squares for the other side of the layout here. And we'll go ahead and put one of these in the middle. All right. We probably need to get our border on too. Hang on, let's see here. Okay, border needs to come out here through the whole thing. And then this is gonna come up. I think it was gonna be behind it. Well, it's just going to be hard since I put foam squares, but we're just going to go with it, I think. We might cover up a little bit. I want it behind here. Okay. So either cut the border, we're gonna, I want this here. So that's going down gently. And then this is gonna come here. We're gonna actually run this over the whole thing, I guess. All right, that's where it's gonna go then. And I've got my other embellishments and stickers ready to go, but I'm gonna grab my mat again here. Let's get some repositionable tape going on this one. And it's gonna get done. This is, I think, a first running it over. Well, you know, there's always lots of firsts with me. I'm always like, oh, let's try it and see what happens, see how it looks, and this is what we're gonna get. So let's try it and see how it works and see what we're gonna get. All right. Here we go. So it kind of gives it a nice little shadowy effect. Since we have this navy on this white, that's not bad at all. Okay. I think I'm okay with that. It's interesting. If nothing else, it's different. And now we have these Noteworthy Days stickers that basically maybe go red, white, and blue with the whole thing. We have Boom. We have our fireworks coming in. This one's gonna have to pop up. Okay, Boom needs to pop up. Our little bottle rockets are actually coming in and down instead of up and away. We have a popsicle that is going to actually angle this way. I might actually put the stick behind this building here. I know the sizing is a little funny, but it is what it is. And then I had a navy arrow embellishment that I just thought kind of recentered the whole, you know, the whole color scheme of the layout. So we are going to put this one coming in. There we go. It's just adding another layer of movement again to our page. Here's our Boom. We're gonna cover up. No, we're gonna just put it behind a couple of these buildings here. Lift this one up as well. And there we go. All right. Get my tape runner again. This needs just a little bit more. There we go. All right. Now we need to get rid of our excess from our sunburst. So we're gonna grab our micro tip scissors and cut around. We're gonna flip this over. And this is everything we're gonna cut. And this is why I say with the sunburst, sometimes you wind up with some extra scraps. There we go. All right. Left side of our page is done. We're gonna do a right side for this one. I don't know if I'll bring these back into Noteworthy Days or not. We'll see. I'll hold on to them for now. But, all right, what do y'all think? If you saw it, you probably wouldn't believe it was Noteworthy Days, right? But a fun Americana layout. If you have some 4th of July pictures, they could easily go on this page. How fun is that? All right, let's do the right side. Yeah, let's go ahead and stick down our white, bright white to our frame again. let's get the zero centering ruler in here again at a 1/2 inch from this left side, so that way I know exactly where I'm going to put my bright white cardstock. Bring it up a 1/2 inch from the bottom here, and booyah. We are set with our 1/2 inch frame. It's as easy as that. All right, now, since I did the other side on that centered scale on the 6 inch, I probably should have off-centered it, but we're just gonna go ahead again and mark our 0 with our pencil. Remember, we covered it up anyways with that paper, so I didn't even have to erase my mark at all. And, you know, like I said, if you want to use your scoring blade, you can. Just trying to show you all another way of doing it. Now, this one is going to start on this end here. We're going to just go ahead and start putting things over, because this is actually going to end up closer to this right side with our embellishment box again. Here we go. I don't know how my whole little stack wound up getting off just a little bit, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I'll figure out where everything goes again. Red is coming in. This has to point down a bit more. There we go. There's that one. I just really got out of order. Large dot. Let me move this again. All right. Okay, so we definitely wanted a little bit more. So it's geared a little bit more to this side, which it kind of is. And it's up to you if you want to have super even spacing. If you're okay doing it a little more free form like I am, then just go for it. Here we go. All right, let's get these down this time. Last one going on. I feel pretty good about that. Let's go ahead and get our mats on, and then we will finish this layout up. All right, 3 more mats, 3.5 by 5.5. Feels like that one's about to end. And remember, we wanted 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the page. Let's get this first one centered at 1 3/4 again. Oops, let's get the ruler centered first, and then we can get the other centered. Was it 1 3/4? Yes. And about 1/8 of an inch between the other two. And I'm kind of eyeballing it. You can do it extra precise since I've got the ruler here, but mostly I'm using the ruler to help me get the placement the 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the where the bright white starts. So we do overlap that starburst just a little bit. Starburst, sunburst. It's okay. Here we go. Let's get our embellishment going, and then we'll get our border going on top of our embellishment again. Gotta flip it. This one has the mint stripes. Okay. All right, this is going just so it overlaps the bottom just a little bit. Make sure on my other side. Yeah, that looks about right. Let's go ahead and push that down. Bring back in my silicone mat here. Let me bring this down a little bit. Sorry, I didn't realize I went completely off camera a bit there. I don't think I would. Like I said, my head's about 6 inches away from the camera right now, which usually is not the case. I'm pretty sure I've shown you all my setup in other videos, my craft room cleanup videos. So right now it's definitely not that. I'm actually filming on my phone, and it's been a little bit of a challenge, but you know, it's good, it's working. Glad I'm still able to get these done and produce content for all of you as well. Something, give you something to watch, give you some different ideas, and maybe I am actually in a creative place, not being drowned in boxes just yet. Okay, now we have another rocket. We have a 4th of July. And I also have this Independence Day, which I'm not sure where I was going to put because I didn't mark it on my sheet. But we're going to go ahead and get these down first. Our happy 4th of July. These rockets are coming in from the right, just like the other ones were coming in from the left. So let's bring this in about here. Okay, this is going to come in from here. This one's going to go underneath here, just a little. Oops. Don't want to mess with the buildings too much, but I do want this to be actually on the square. And this one is going to just repeat what we have with our, maybe we should have it, should we have it coming up here? Probably. Let's go ahead and put this one up here. It's like I almost want to foam square it again, but I'm not going to. It's just going to hang off the edge of that embellishment that we're using. And then do we want to run this through over here? Well, let's bring in the other side and double check. So I forgot to cut the, let me cut this on the other starburst first. Let's take this off. Let's finish the actual page. How's about that, huh? What a novel thing. You can tell I was getting 2 steps ahead of myself, apparently. What's up with that? There we go. Okay. Recycle and hang on to these other ones. I have a whole pile of funny little shapes. That's more like it. How's about that? It almost looks like a just a really exciting city scene almost, doesn't it, with the city border running through it. Now, do we want Independence Day coming in from one of our sides? Here's the question. Let's see. Oh, I know why. This is why I pulled it, was because I had 3 going across the bottom of the photos on this thing and I only had 1. So I was trying to figure out, I guess it would make sense to run it. I feel like it works a little bit better on the left side, maybe because the navy is closer to the popsicle. Or do we put it through the, I think it's a little too much there. Actually, it doesn't look bad there. So we're gonna go ahead. This is one of the clear stickers that you got if you purchased the bundle at the beginning of the year for sure. It might still be available. I don't know. I probably need to check that. There we go. Just running through the side there. Whew. Okay, sketch number 2 is done. What do y'all think? Would you have thought this was noteworthy days if I hadn't told you? Just, you never know what will pop up, what's gonna speak to me. And let's go ahead and move into sketch number 3. For sketch number 3, we are gonna be working with the Hit the Road collection. Quite a few of you all voted to see this one, so I was very happy to bring it in. Now, this is one where I am going to talk to you all about making the paper work for you. Because as soon as I saw the sketch and as soon as I remembered one of the pages in this collection, I thought, okay, we're just going to do it. Can you guess which page I pulled in? We're going to make the paper work for us. And it wound up being so quick and so easy. I can't wait to share this with you. Look at this. I cut off this part from this paper. We will probably see it on something else another time maybe. But essentially I have 2 ready to go borders for another time. I'm working on navy cardstock here, and I took this road and I cut essentially just right around with my microtip scissors, and I measured, and it wound up being 1.5 inches is what I cut off this top part. So from the scissors here was to about 1.5 inches from the edge of the paper. I took my trimmer and I cut off 1.5 inches, and then you can see here it is. So this is our 1.5 inches that I cut off from this 12 by 12 piece of paper, besides cutting off the other piece I just showed you. We are going to use this on this page over here, because why waste the scrap? We're going to create this curve coming in from both sides. We're going to use the same paper, we're going to use the same technique. So simple. So easy. We're just going to go with it. So let me stick this down first, and then I'm using the 0 centering ruler a lot this month. I hope you all have one, because it is one of my absolute favorite tools that Creative Memories has. Just makes it so easy for centering things when you're putting together these layouts, especially if you're putting them together on camera like I am. All right, let's get some tape going, and then we're going to get this centered on the page. So again, my measurements will not match what the sketch says, but we're following the essence of the sketch, maybe? No, not really, because I have another little fun twist for you all. I don't know. Don't know what was going on with my mind this month, but it came out with some fun ideas for you all. Let's see. I'm at about 4 3/8. There we go. And now the page is down, and this is the right side of the page. It's just easier to show, I guess, the curve from the right, maybe. I have a couple of embellishments that we're going to use as well. I did cut using this paper that has the stars on it. It's the one with all the license plates on the back of it. I cut my mats 4x6 and 4x4. So this one, not getting too crazy with any of the sizes. I don't know. Did that match? That calls for 3 4x6, and I actually wound up using a 4x4, I think, because I didn't want to cover up too much of the paper. And I have a note to go 1/4 inch from the edge of the paper with this one as well. So we're going to go ahead and just measure that out again. It just and keeps things easy. We're gonna run this at the bottom of the paper again, because sometimes it is a little tricky figuring out how to get your photos onto these pages that have these bigger designs on them. And we could have, I guess, brought it down here, but then it looks a little bit funny. It doesn't look like it fits, and this almost works as a frame, kind of like what we did on the last layout. And we're gonna go 1/4 of an inch from this edge as well up here in the top. So we're just running tight at our 1/4 of an inch here. We're gonna run it at the top of the page here. And then this one, I don't know why I put tape runner on, because I want to pop it up. And this would be great using your foam tape if you still have some. You know what, I actually have a sheet of older foam squares that I'm gonna go ahead and use to pop this up. It's just gonna make life a little bit easier. So use your foam tape if you have it. You can use the foam squares. It just is gonna work a little bit better popped up than not on this page. So I feel like I'm putting a lot on here, and I kind of am. Again, like I said, I really wanted the foam tape. Did not think to pack it. It's okay, and they don't have it anymore at Creative Memories, so I may have to, well, I know I have some. It's just a matter of getting our household goods again. So I don't want to buy it. It's just, I've had to buy several colors of cardstock because I didn't pack all my colors of cardstock, and then I didn't realize I was going to be designing 3 virtual crops on the road, but you know, that is what it is. But little by little, it's coming together. And then this one is coming in over here. All right, here we go. So you can still see this curve in here. We're kind of repeating that curve, but rather than bringing in the circle, I just brought in a diamond instead. And you know, if you want to add another 4x4 photo, you probably could add one in down here. I just didn't want to put the mat. I wanted to give myself a little bit of extra leeway as far as putting photos on. And I am going to go ahead and put in this yellow arrow kind of pointing at our road bit. And I have our rest area embellishment as well. This one's going to come down from the corner of this one here. And this is coming in from the bottom of our page here. But like I said, you can always lift up your embellishments with your multi-purpose tool and add a different photo down here as well. So this is the right side of our page again, coming in here. And now let's put together the left side. Also on a navy sheet of cardstock. Also where I cut, and we're going to replace this piece of scrap back on to the other end of the paper. And this actually creates that same motion similar to the sketch. And maybe there are other collections that if you want to suggest and share with others that you have seen that might work, or you can make the paper work for you instead of figuring out how to cut that funny angle using your custom cutting system. You know, just varies depending on what you want to do. All right, bringing in my ruler to the right side this time because this paper is going to be upside down. So what did I say? 4 3/8 or so. Yep. There we go, nice and straight on our page, bringing that angle in and coming down. So here and here is what we have. I will bring in the other page at the end. I've got some more embellishments that we're going to use on this page. And I have 2 more 4x6 and 1 more 4x4 mat with the same paper that I used on the other side of the page. Oh, I did it again. Daggum it. Oh, well. Yeah, it's okay. And there I was looking at my foam squares going, oh, yeah, it's nice to have so many foam squares. And now they're not going to have so many foam squares coming up, am I? But it's okay. Just load it up. And there we go. Bring in my ruler again so I can get my mat placement to where I want it. 1/4 of an inch from this edge again. And here we go, aligning with the bottom edge of the paper. Sometimes there we go. Sometimes our cuts vary a little bit. And then 1/4 inch from this edge as well with our 4x6 mats. Our other 4x6 mat. Oops. Knocked that one a little bit. Hang on, I'm moving this around. Good grief. Okay. There we go. And now let's pull some backs off our foam squares here. Almost easier with my left hand. My thumb still is not 100%, but it's better than what it was in Pennsylvania. I'm still trying to get myself into the occupational therapist here to see what they tell me, but it's working for the most part. Doesn't hurt as much. It still hurts, just not as much. Okay, let's see if I got all those. Nope, I missed one up here. That's one thing, like, you almost wish that they would put like blue or pink backs on these things so that way you know when you have all of them. Okay, this one's gonna come in down here. And we are going to cover up okay. Oh, there we go. That one's going there. And definitely in the edge of our paper. Now, we have a little Route 66 embellishment that's going to go here again on one more of our foam squares. Because I just thought this road kind of just does lead a little bit more to nowhere. We also have this navy tag that we're going to place underneath our photo mat on the left side here. Coming in for our journaling. There we go. And then we have putting on the miles. This one's just kind of a fun little embellishment, and the colors worked. This one's coming in from the top here with our little star and our kind of crooked legs on that one, but still fun. Okay. There you go, sketch 3 is complete. Let me hold this side up for you and then I'll bring back in the right side. It's strange to do that way. I usually do the left side first, but sometimes, occasionally, we do the right side. There we go. What do y'all think? Let me make sure I'm kind of on the camera. I think I'm within the frame here. Sometimes it's easier to tell than other times. Here's our sketch. So again, made the paper work for me. I took 1.5 inches, and it worked out nicely, I think. We did diamonds instead of circles, and you can still see the design on the paper a bit as well. Let's go do sketch number 4. Sketch number 4. We are going to be using the Mountain Scenes bundle for this one. I also did bring in my road trip border punch, and we're only punching one from this one, you'll see coming up. And I did punch a border from the Bridge and Trees decorative border punch. We are using cool gray cardstock for both of those. Here is the mats up close, and this one I pulled this mountain border looking page for the left side of the layout. It has the dark gray, I don't know, design on the back, geometric design, and then for the right side of the page we are going to use the mountain and waterfall paper with the diagonal stripes on the back of it. Let's start on the left side because that's usually where Catherine starts. I pulled in 2 of our border stickers. We're going to layer these, and I want to make sure I get the placement pretty well with my Bridge and Trees border. Now you'll notice the bottom of my border I cut with my wave blade because I did this for the short where I introduced the punch, and I liked it so much. I really wanted to use the one I used in the short on this layout, but once I saw the mountains, I realized I really did need the cool gray. I feel like that's a pretty good placement to guess. Yep, right above the little arrow section of this second mountain point. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the back off of this and get this down before I forget where I need to put it on the page. So essentially covering up those stripes. We're just going to follow that line. There we go. And then with the second one, we're going to place it, instead of, you would think you put them side by side or what have you. No, this one's going upside down because we want it to show underneath our punch as well. And this is just because they had, I don't know, a lot of like borders showing on the sketch. I'll bring that in just a moment. But that's where essentially we're layering 2 borders, and the paper itself almost speaks to having a bunch of borders on it. And then you can see here, when we put this on here, it just looks like our Bridge and Trees are going through the water. How cool is that? I love that, making our border work for us this time, and our border sticker. How fun, huh? And then adding that wave blade in just makes all the difference. I did cut this one with the wave blade at 1.5 inches, and then with our road trip border punch, I punched only 1. So you'll see that in a moment. Goodness, I had to find where I'd written that one down. Let's grab some repositionable tape and get this on here. I just love that wavy look. It's gonna make all the difference on our page here. Here we go. And don't you just love that when the designers really are thoughtful, and it helps us to coordinate. This is wavy, this is wavy, this is wavy. We have waves showing under our bridge. How cool is that? I love it. LOVE. Now I did cut 4 4¼ by 6¼ mats from our cool gray cardstock. I've done demos of this in the past. If you haven't seen it, or how to get the 4 4¼ by 6¼ from one sheet of cardstock, please by all means leave a comment and I will do a short. I don't know if I have a short on it. I think I've done it as parts of other videos, so let me know and I'll put a short together for that one. Okay, so this is about a 1/2 inch in. Let's go ahead from these double lines down here and see if these will fit. Yep. All right. So following along kind of the same sight line. This one is more, I guess, traditional for me. I do want a little bit in between here, sorry. This is gonna go up just a little bit higher. Okay, so we'll have the arrows showing down here and about a 1/2 inch in as well. There's that one. This one, I need to reset a little, and the other one I might reset just a hair too. Let's see here. Is my paper straight? I think so. These are gonna run. Okay, there, and then this is gonna go. Oh, you know what? I have a, hang on, I've got a, I have some trees that this may need to go up a little bit. Okay, we've got so many stickers we're gonna use. Got a ton. Okay, so our trees are gonna be down here. Here we go. Okay, coming in here, 1/2 inch over, and we are essentially gonna run along that same line there. Look at that. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Now, our trees, we're gonna pop up part of them. I really want this larger one, the one that has, it looks like, well, they both have 3 rocks. This one has just the larger tree to the right. So this one's going in the back here on this edge here. And this other one is gonna get popped up, surprise, surprise, next to it. So we're having so much tree love here in the corner. I wonder if I need to cut that one. I probably do. Let me grab my scissors again here. Put this at the edge here. Cut this on a diagonal. So that way we have 1/2 a foam square for each top of our trees. There we go. Oops, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's nice when it works out. There we go. Okay. So you're gonna place this one just a little bit lower and a little bit over, and it has the foam squares. So we're adding just some extra definition to our trees in the corner here. We also have, move that up. All right, mountains are calling. I have the swag that I want to put underneath this mountains are calling. So we're gonna go ahead and take these off and create a little cluster here. I'm just gonna set it so where it looks centered, and we still see a little bit of that arc through the middle here. And this is gonna go up here. See a couple of trees will cover up one of our bridges. What can I say? Right on the page. And then we're gonna have one of these coming in from here. One of these coming in from here. I think I've got to get the right angle on each one of these. We could put these up on foam squares, but remember these are 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, so we do have a little bit of leeway with where we put our sticker, but we could also add the foam squares as well. Oops, this one's going up here along with Take Me Away and Wander. Take Me Away is up here. And our Wander is going to come in down here. Kind of with our, we'll put this coming up from behind our Wander. Actually, I want it underneath this corner of the T as well. It's like sometimes you plan it and then you see it when you actually get a chance to stick it down and change your mind just a little bit. There we go. So that's, both of those are over this last little swag here. Okay. Whew. Left side is done on that one. Like I said, a whole lot of stickers going on this one, but it just seemed to work. And it really helps to reiterate kind of what's going on our right side of the page as well. So bear with me here. Let's get the right side in and then we'll see it together. All right, on our right side, we are gonna have one last 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and I have 2 4x4s. And find my tape runner here. Let's get these down. Okay, this is at the top, about a 1/2 inch from the edge. This one is also in the corner up here. Sometimes it's hard to figure out where to work some of these things with the designer paper here. I want to cover up this green vegetation grass kind of coming in from the corner of our waterfall here and covering up, I guess, one of the pine trees as well, but that looks pretty good, pretty linear. There we go. All right, we're gonna have our Wild and Free with the other swag over here, layered in. Again, coming up from behind. Here we go, Wild and Free. Down here. So there we go, fitting it in the abstract grass again. And then finally our single road trip border punch, because it had the trees. Wait, I gotta make sure I get it the right way. Yep, I was putting the tape on the wrong end. Hang on, let me rub it off again. Flip it over, because we want our car coming in from this end, because remember on the other side we have our trees. So this again, we have those pine trees coming in on our little car. How cute is that? All right, that's it. That's the right side of the page. Let me bring in the left side again, and we are gonna wrap this thing up. All right, there it is. What do y'all think of this mountain scene with the gray? This is, the cool gray was not on the list for cardstock, so you can add this to the list of a companion cardstock. It just is beautifully with this mountain and with the gray tones in here as well. I just thought it worked well. And here was our sketch again. You can see, like I said, this one was a little border heavy in both places. And this had this little embellishments under here. So that's why I just went with the one. We added a little embellishing here. I rearranged the mats a bit because I wanted to do some larger ones again. And I think it turned out reasonably well. Y'all will have to let me know which one you enjoyed seeing done the most. And I'm kind of glad I get a little break before the August virtual crop, because 2 weeks in a row with June and July was a lot. But it's done. I'm caught up. I am now going to get myself caught up on the Noteworthy Days sticker pack usage, and I'll get it done. I'll get caught up, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing a couple of other extra little card videos in between and what have you. We'll I'll keep on creating. I will see you all next time.